Hello, gorgeous souls. Welcome back to another episode of the Rise with Anita podcast. I am your host, Anita, and today we are unpacking something powerful. It's this overwhelming feeling of being behind in life and discovering the truth about your divine timing. So if you've ever felt like you're running behind everyone else, this episode is a powerful reminder that you are exactly where you need to be. So, if you're like me, I just had hit a milestone birthday back in January. And I was sitting there kind of feeling sorry for myself and not seeing all the things I've already accomplished, but instead seeing the milestones that were missing from life. So let's start with this. Society often hands us timelines. You should be married by a certain age. You should build a career by this age. You should buy a house by a certain age. And when we don't match these norms, we feel inadequate, behind, or even potentially lost. But here's the truth. Your soul doesn't operate on societal schedules. It moves in divine timing, perfectly aligned for your own unique journey. So, for me, what that looks like is the things that I was maybe not feeling so great about in January. I didn't have my career at a certain point that I wanted it, or I didn't feel like I had certain momentum towards different areas of life. I realized that these were things that would eventually be worked on, same year, but it hadn't happened when I thought it would have landed. So here's the truth. How do you recognize that you're stuck in this mindset of I'm behind? It comes down to the fact that you're comparing yourself to others, to other people's journeys, to what is feeling like it's expected from you. And you're constantly in this loop. You're feeling anxiety about where you should be by now. You feel rushed, maybe pressured. And as a reminder, for someone who gets, you should have kids by now, talks about once a week, it is okay that your timeline is a little bit different than everyone else's. So if this is hitting home, just remember, comparison is the thief of joy, but it's starting to understand that everything happens in your own unique timing, and that timeline is what's going to restore it. I think there's this beauty of being on our own journey and really honoring where we're at in this moment. So what I would challenge you to do is actually write in a journal or just take a moment to stop and acknowledge how far you've come. Because while you might not be at certain societal norms, you have already made progression in other areas of life. Start shifting your perspective. Realize that your life unfolds in its perfect rhythm. Your timing isn't wrong. It's yours. It's uniquely yours. So we have to start celebrating our journey. Every experience that we are having is a preparation move for the moments that we are working towards. And I really want to hit home on this celebration because I have the habit, and it's something I'm personally working through right now, of actually slowing down when you've hit your goals, to take that moment. Maybe that looks like dancing to a song or taking yourself out to a dinner, frozen yogurt, whatever. A small moment to acknowledge how far you've come, because so often we end up on to the next thing. But there's something beautiful in staying still for a moment and acknowledging that you've actually hit a milestone that you wanted. And a beautiful soul I met recently had us do an exercise where she took us to look at what the version of us 10 years ago would have looked at our lives and actually acknowledged about our lives. And I think that was such a powerful exercise because that 10-year version of us is exactly looking and longing for the things that we've done. So everything happens in divine timing. And just prepare to celebrate along the journey. I highly recommend, if you need tips on releasing comparison, because this was a big thing for me, unfollow, mute, or distance yourselves from sources of comparison. So if you have someone that you're looking at their content and it feels like you're comparing your life to theirs instead of being inspired by theirs, there's a difference, then I highly recommend just hit that unfollow or mute them so you're not engaging as much. Because comparison honestly puts you at a pause and a stop and keeps you stuck. Surround yourself with inspiration and encouragement, whether that's your friends, trusted loved ones, family. But for me, I like to look at people who are making big moves in the world. But I think the ones that hit home for me the most are the ones who've also shared where they've started. Because it's easy to look at the after picture and feel like you're so far out from them. When you take that moment to look at the before, and you realize we all have our own journey. We all have our own timeline for when the overnight success looks like it's going to happen. So, another tip for this is just to simply practice gratitude daily. And I know this is something that's constantly thrown out there, especially in our manifestation world and the personal development world, but I think that it still often gets overlooked at how being grateful, whether that's people in your lives, just little moments of like, hey, the sun is shining today, or I hit a certain goal, or even my favorite is just these beautiful moments of past experiences I've had. For example, when I had my mom surprise me at a birthday party years ago. Not birthday party. But it's these little moments that have happened that your heart can go back to, that it really encompasses what life is all about. It reminds you of your own progress and your own divine timing. So, I just wanted to say, if you've ever felt like your life is not falling into place, I am literally the walking example of my life felt stagnant almost in the beginning of the year. And while I will start to share more of that story, right now I'm seeing the fruit of the things that I wanted and I was craving to bring into the world are starting to manifest. But just because they didn't hit at 30 didn't make me a failure, despite the fact that maybe I felt that way. So remember, divine timing means you're never too early, you're not too late, you're exactly where you're meant to be in this moment. I think there's something to be said about grace and giving ourselves the grace of actually understanding that everything happens in our own season. You're never going to miss something that's meant for you. So as we close today, remind yourself you're exactly where you are supposed to be in your journey. Trust it. Trust your timing and release the illusion of being behind. And just take a moment today to acknowledge and reflect on your own journey. Celebrate how far you've come and affirm to yourself, I am exactly where I need to be. So if this episode spoke with you, please share, subscribe, and let's go ahead and uplift each other. Share it with someone who might need the reminder. And let's keep honoring our own unique path, because there's something so immensely beautiful in that. Until next time, if you want to reach out to me via Instagram or Facebook at Arise with Anita, I would love to hear what the insights on any of the episodes, but especially if this one, if it resonated, please let me know. And let's uplift each other and just create a safe space. Up until next time, trust your timing, enjoy your beautiful, unique journey.